Hi students, welcome to oral pathology sessions. We are going to start with a new topic here, that is our developmental anomalies. Okay, so developmental anomalies is a very important and very simple topic in oral pathology, right? So developmental anomalies. The anomalies or defects will start with the development of a tissue or development of a structure. Okay, so it is related to the developmental process itself. Any defect in your body, we say by birth. Okay, you got this defect by birth, so that is developmental anomalies. So we are concerned about the developmental anomalies of your face, head and neck region, and most importantly we will start with the lips, developmental anomaly of the lips. So developmental anomaly can happen for your lip, your mouth, your jaw, your teeth, right, your salivary glands, your tongue, any structure, your buccal mucosa, any structure may have a developmental anomaly. So we will learn the major developmental anomalies, and first let's begin with the developmental anomaly of your lip. Okay, so this is what I want to start with, that is your developmental anomaly of your lip. Okay, so if when you are concerned with the lips and palate, okay, mainly lips and palate is what we are going to start with. So you know that the lips, the major developmental anomaly that affects your lip and palate is your clefting, right? Cleft lip and palate. That is the very famous or very popular or very common anomaly of your lip. Okay, so what is there in cleft lip and palate? Let's see what to learn in cleft lip and palate. So before I go into cleft lip and palate, you will be learned, you may have learned this in your embryology of your anatomy in your first year, from where the cleft lip and palate is originating, from where the lip is actually originating, from how the lip is originating. Okay, so most of the things in our body, they are mirror images actually on the face, especially you know that the right side and the left side, they have what equal contribution, right? So your lip, your palate, they are all formed by fusion of certain processes. Okay, on the face it is very complex. There is so many process which forms in the face, and these processes develop, they fuse in the midline, and then they make the complete structure. So this is how an embryo develops actually. So you know that most of the fusion occurs after your fourth week of intrauterine life. Okay, so you know that there are certain process, main thing you should remember. There is a process that is your maxillary process. The maxillary process that fuse with your median nasal process. Okay, so this fusion is between your maxillary process and the medial nasal process, and this happens within the 4 to 6 week of your intrauterine life. IUL, I mean intrauterine life. But any failure, okay, and what they make when they fuse, they make your upper lip. So any failure in this fusion, any failure in the fusion of your median nasal process and the maxillary process in the 4 week of intrauterine life, what is the result? It will result in your cleft lip. Okay, see, the cleft lip is formed. Okay, similarly, if you see, there is a fusion of your lateral. What about the lateral nasal process? The lateral nasal process, which will fuse with this maxillary process, and that will form the ala of the nose. The ala of the nose is contributed from the lateral nasal process. Okay, and the other thing you can see that the median nasal process will give rise to median nasal process, that will again give rise to your primary palate. Okay, primary palate. And your palatal shelf, you know that the palatal shelf, there is a right side and left side. The right and the left palatal shelf, when they fuse together, they give rise to your hard palate. Your hard palate. Okay, and they will fuse together and they will form the hard palate. Okay, in the front they will fuse with the your frontonasal process, and back they will fuse with the right and left hard palate, and they will completely form the hard palate, and this happens in the 8th week of intrauterine life. Now, in the 8th week of intrauterine life, I told that the tongue will descend down. Okay, the tongue will descend down when we are discussing about Pierre-Robin sequence. I think you may have heard about Pierre-Robin sequence when we discussed. I told that by the 8th week of intrauterine life, the tongue will descend down, and the right and left palatal shelf will fuse together, and that will close the central gap and will form the hard palate. Okay, any defect which will cause this, any failure which happens here, that will cause cleft palate. So any defect or any failure of fusion of this right and left hard palate shelves, okay, then what happens? You get a cleft palate. Okay, so this is what happened. And what are the things they ask you for your INICT or NEET examination? There are certain facts you should know about clefting. Okay. One of the questions they have asked in your NEET examination was, which among the following statement is true regarding your cleft lip and palate? Okay, so which among the following statement is false? Which among the following statement is true? Okay, usually cleft lip and cleft palate occurs together. Okay, so this we say cleft lip with or without cleft palate. That condition is usually seen 45% of the cases. You can see cleft lip along with the cleft palate. Cleft palate alone is 30% of the cases. Cleft lip alone is coming 25% of the cases. Okay, so usually a child present with a cleft lip and palate. Okay, we say cleft lip with or without palate. Most of the cases it comes together. Cleft palate alone comes in 30% cases, and cleft lip alone comes in 25% cases. Okay, now what is some other cleft you may have heard about? Okay, what if there is a failure of fusion? I say failure of fusion. I am writing it for you to easily understand. The maxillary process here. Okay, the maxillary process. Okay, is failed fuse between it failed to fuse between your mandibular process. Okay, so the maxillary process above and the mandibular process below, if what they fail to fuse, when they fail to fuse, we get a cleft called a lateral facial cleft. Okay, so not only cleft lip and palate, there are other clefts also. The failure of fusion of between your maxillary and the mandibular process that give rise to a lateral facial cleft. And one more is there, if there is a failure of fusion of your your lateral nasal process, and your maxillary process. So we have seen maxillary process and the median nasal that will give rise to a cleft lip. Maxillary process and the lateral nasal process, if they fail to fuse, we get a cleft called your oblique facial cleft. Yeah, just remember the terms lateral facial cleft and oblique facial cleft. Okay, now what are the questions they have asked? There are certain facts you should know. This cleft lip and cleft palate, okay, usually seen in the in the Asian populations. Okay, Asian populations are very prone to the clefting and cleft lip and cleft palate, and it is very rare in black people. The black races, the clefting is seen very rarely, and you should know that 80% of the cases are unilateral. Means clefting occurs in one side, either right or left, and you should know which side is most commonly affected. 70% of the cases that comes in the left side. Okay, this was once asked in your NEET examination. Which among the following statement is true? Means they have asked you that clefting is very common in white people. Okay, in white population, that is a wrong statement, because clefting is most commonly in the Asian population and very rare in the black population. Okay, and 80% of the cases cleft comes in the left, on one side unilateral, and 70% of those cleft are on the left side. Okay, left side is more commonly affected by the clefting. Okay, so cleft is usually commonly seen in the left side. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, now some other things you can add on to this, that you should always remember syndromes which are related to clefting. So many questions they have asked you, which among the following syndromes show clefting? Okay, cleft lip and cleft palate is seen. So there, I say there is more than 400 syndromes, or 400 and 500 syndromes they show clefting. But how can a person remember all these syndromes? Okay, so it is impossible for us to remember all the syndromes which related to clefting, but try to remember at least few. Okay, one you can easily say, that is your Pierre Robin. Pierre Robin doesn't have a cleft lip, but one thing is, your Pierre Robin doesn't have a cleft lip; it has a cleft palate. Okay, okay. So those syndromes which are related to clefting are your Stickler. I will name few. Okay, Stickler, Croson. Croson, Croson also, there is cleft palate or cleft lip usually seen. Rubinstein, Rubinstein type is there. Uppert, what is there? And Pierre Robin, there is cleft palate. Okay, Velo, cardiofacial syndrome. Okay, so many syndromes. Okay, that is not it. Now there was a question related to the genes which is causing this clefting. Okay, so there was one thing, the gene which is related to your cleft lip and palate. Please remember, there is one gene which is mostly causing a cleft lip. The person will suffer from cleft lip, and person will have hypodontia. What do you mean by hypodontia? Hypodontia means reduced number of teeth. So the person will have clefting as well as reduced number of teeth. Then he is suffering from a mutation by MSX1. Okay, MSX1 is a gene which is controlling the number of teeth. Okay, MSX1 is a gene which is controlling the number of teeth. So if a person is suffering from cleft lip along with hypodontia, possibly the gene which is mutated is MSX1. Okay, now if a person has cleft lip, along with that he is having pits on the lip pits. Now, what is that syndrome where you have a cleft lip with lipids? Okay, your Van der Waals syndrome. Your Van der Waals syndrome we have seen in the chapter, right? In the video session we discussed syndromes. We have discussed Van der Waals syndrome, cleft lip and lipids. What was the gene mutated in there? There was IRF6. So IRF6 is a gene which is mutated when the person is suffering from lipids and cleft lip. And last one, if the person is having cleft lip and a condition called ectodermal dysplasia. Okay, ectodermal dysplasia. Then I will write ectodermal dysplasia. Okay. Then he is suffering from a mutation of PVRL6. PVRL1. Okay, PVRL1 gene. So this is about your clefting. Okay, cleft lip and palate. And one another thing you should remember here, I will show you a classification about classification of lipids. Cleft lip. About classification of cleft lip, there is so many classifications they have given in the classification of lips, cleft and palate. There is no need to by heart, no need to learn all the classifications. One of the classifications which is a focus area for your NEET INSED examination is views classification. VEAU, view. So this question, this classification you can see in many of the competitive examinations, and that is called view classification. VEAU, view. But the best way to remember this is view. Okay, view. We are seeing it. View from the back. Okay, view it from the back. So this is how I remember views classification. Okay, view from the back. View 1, view 2, view 3, view 4. So I am starting from the back. I'm going to see the clefting from the back. So from the back, when I see the soft palate first, then I see the hard palate, then I see the alveolus or the lips, right? So when I am seeing from the back, I first see the soft palate, then I see the hard palate, then I see the lips. So view 1 is a clefting of the soft palate. View 2 is the clefting of soft and hard palate. View 3 is soft palate, hard palate, and one side of the what unilateral clefting. Okay, and view 4 is soft palate, hard palate, and bilateral cleft lip. Got it. So this is view from the back. Now, this question was asked in your NEET examination. View type 4 is unilateral cleft or soft palate cleft. So, students usually confuse that type 1 is lip, type 2 is what palate, or type 3 is palate. The clefting increases with the type. No, view is from the back. The type 1 starts from the palate, not the lip. Okay, so this was the thing they have puzzled or they have confused students with. Okay, so mostly we will think that, okay, type 1 maybe it starts from the lip and then goes to the palate. No. Okay, so this was the classification they have asked you in NEET exam. Please remember views classification. Okay, now what another your lip anomaly that we have to learn is that, can you see this picture? I just want to show you this picture. Okay, can you please see this picture? Okay, that picture, what you see in that picture is that, you have this person has a lips, see the upper lip. Okay, and below this upper lip you can see such a fold of tissue. Okay, a fold of tissue. So we have a fold of tissue below the upper lip. Okay, so we have an extra fold of tissue below the upper lip, and it is very evident. You are seeing that when the person is smiling, that fold of tissue is seen. So it is seen like they are having two lips, two upper lips. Okay, so one is here and one is here. So it is called a two upper lips. Okay, so that is called a condition called a double lip. Double lip. Double lip is a condition where you are seeing an extra mucosal fold in the upper lip. Okay, why this is important? Because there was a question in your INICET. INICET, they had a question with this, the syndrome which is associated with double lip. What is a syndrome? Okay, we have the person who is having double lip with the, what next? The person is having double lip, blepharochalasis. Blepharochalasis, that is your eyelids are drooping, and then we have non-toxic thyroid enlargement. Okay, so the person is having double lip, blepharochalasis, non-toxic thyroid enlargement, then that condition is called a Asher syndrome. Asher syndrome. Asher syndrome is the condition where you see all these things. Okay, so this was another question or another lip anomaly. Okay, and come to this last one. This you are familiar because we have discussed this when we are discussing syndromes. What is this? They are lip pits. Lip pits. Okay, so depressions. They are depressions on the either side of your lips. Depressions on the lips. Okay, so if you see then the center, that's the center, and on either side of the center on the lips we have two depressions there. So they called on either sides of the midline, we say paramedian. Paramedian. What do you mean by paramedian? Paramedian means that it is seen on either side of the midline. Okay, so that is called a paramedian lipids. Okay, so on either sides of the midline you are seeing lipids, it's called paramedian. Okay, now this originates during the development of the lip. Okay, and it is seen in certain syndromes. Please remember the syndromes where you see this paramedian lipids. One is your van der Waals. Okay, we have seen a question in the when we were discussing the paramedian lipids. I think in the syndromes we have discussed this question. Your Kabuki and your popliteal pterygium. Popliteal pterygium. Okay, so pterygium, popliteal, ETRE, pterygium syndrome. Okay, so this syndromes you can see lip pits. So these are the different anomalies of your lips. Okay, so I hope the anomalies of the lip is clear to you. Okay, you have cleft lip, you have cleft palate, and your lipids. We will see if there is any question which we being asked about your lip clefting. Okay, so let's see if there is any question which was asked in the previous year question paper. No. Okay, so that's about your clefting. Okay, anomalies of your lip. See you in the next video with the next topic.